Immigration is one of the most debated economic topics in the world. Some people argue it steals jobs and lowers wages. Others say it fuels growth and innovation. So, who's right? In this video, we're breaking down one key chapter from Good Economics for Hard Times by Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo to answer a simple question. What does immigration actually do to an economy? At its core, the book argues that immigration has far smaller negative effects on wages and employment than people assume. In fact, in many cases, immigration barely shifts the supply and demand curve at all. That might sound surprising, so let's unpack why. First, the authors point out something important. People don't migrate lightly. Even if a country offers higher wages, that alone usually isn't enough to make someone leave their home, family, language, and culture. Large waves of migration are often caused by natural disasters, political instability, or violence, not just economic opportunity. Ironically, when people are forced to move, they often end up in countries with stronger economies and more opportunities, which can improve their long-run outcomes. Immigrants also tend to be highly motivated. Because of their status, many invest more in education and job skills, which can increase productivity over time. One of the most famous real-world tests of immigration's economic impact is the Mariel Boatlift. In 1980, Cuban leader Fidel Castro announced that any Cuban who wanted to leave the country could do so. Over a short period, about 125,000 Cubans, many with little formal education, migrated to Miami. This increased Miami's labor force by roughly 7% almost overnight. According to basic supply and demand theory, this sudden increase in workers should have lowered wages and increased unemployment. But economists wanted to see if that actually happened. Economist David Card studied the aftermath of the Mariel Boatlift by comparing Miami's wages and employment rates before and after the influx of migrants. To isolate the effect, he compared Miami to similar large U.S. cities like Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles, and Tampa, cities that did not experience a sudden wave of immigration. The results were striking. Wages didn't fall, employment didn't collapse. Miami's labor market performed about the same as the other cities. Why didn't the standard economic model work here? One reason is that many of the new migrants took lower-paying entry-level jobs. Instead of replacing native workers, this often pushed natives up the job ladder into better-paying roles. At the same time, immigrants didn't just increase the supply of labor, they also increased demand. More people meant more consumers, more housing needs, more services, and more economic activity overall. So supply went up, but demand did too. The key takeaway from Good Economics for Hard Times is that immigration doesn't behave the way simple models predict. Real economies are more flexible, and labor markets adjust in ways that basic graphs don't fully capture. Immigration, especially in large but realistic amounts, tends to have little to no negative effect on wages and employment. And in many cases, it can benefit both immigrants and native workers. So the next time immigration is framed as an economic disaster, remember the evidence. Economics, when you look at the data, tells a much more nuanced story. If you want more videos breaking down real-world economics with real evidence, make sure to like and subscribe.